And welcome to this episode of the Capitalized Life and Retirement Show. I'm your host, Matthew Johnson, president and owner of Johnson Wealth and Income Management, a retirement income source located in Clear Lake, Humboldt, and Ankeny, Iowa. Today, we've got a bit of an interesting show. If you're a grandparent, if you're even a parent, and you've been thinking, what can I get my grandson or my granddaughter? What can I get my son or my daughter to give them an edge, to give them a bit of a benefit? I don't want to just buy them another Xbox, another bottle of cologne. I really want to do something that's going to benefit them. What can I do? Well, today I have some ideas that may just very well fit the bill. Now, if you're brand new to this radio program or this video podcast, this is something that I just welcome you to. We are here to become more financially literate. We're here to educate ourselves, and I'm here to help you do that. I also encourage you to go to our website, Johnson WIM, as in Wealth Income Management, where there's an archive of white papers and past radio shows and podcasts, things that will allow you to further investigate and learn about topics that are going to be financially relevant to you. Maybe you're still in the accumulation stage of your life and you just want to become more efficient in doing that. Maybe you're already in retirement and you're thinking, my goodness, how can a person live on so little means? I need more income. How do I create more income? Well, education, my friend, is going to be the key. And my definition of a successful retirement is having more income than what you need. And if you're able to accomplish that in life, I think that you've done a really, really good thing. You've allowed yourself the opportunity of being able to have more income than you need so you can do whatever you want, whenever you want it, with whomever you want to do it with. Now, let's get back to today's topic. Today we're going to be discussing what do you get for that child that seems to already have everything. Well, if you've never heard of it, I'm going to expose you to two different types of accounts, a UGMA, otherwise known as an UGMA, and a UTMA, usually known as an UTMA. Not much of a distinction there. Now, a UGMA, a UTMA, pretty much the exact same thing. You know, when it comes to children accounts, there's all sorts of things that we can do. We can just create an account in their name and put money into it. But sometimes parents and grandparents aren't okay with that because they don't know that they necessarily trust the child, or maybe in some instances they don't trust the parent of the child. And they really want that money to have an opportunity. They want it to have time to grow, to compound, to appreciate. And so they start to look for alternatives. Now, you can do some interesting things like you can create a Roth IRA account for, say, a child or a grandchild. Now, generally speaking, rules would have us to understand that we have to have earned income in order to be eligible to put money into that Roth. So if you have a legitimate business and you're paying your children to mow your lawn on the business, well, that would be definitely earned income, and that would afford you the opportunity of being able to put money into that Roth for them. Now, we know that there are certain protections for the Roth. Certainly, there are some provisions to get the money out before 59 and a half. But in this case, some parents and grandparents don't want to be messing with that. So then we can go down the road of the 529 plan. Now, the 529 plan, typically, depending upon the state that you're in, they're going to offer you the opportunity as a parent or grandparent to be able to deposit money into a 529. And you may have the opportunity of being able to get some sort of a tax deduction for doing it, but it's also going to be money that is now officially earmarked for higher education and for the costs of that higher education. So if there are books to be purchased, if there are dorm fees, really tuition fees, whatever it may be that is associated with higher education, if there's money in a 529 plan, well, it is to be used for those explicit bills and purposes. Now, one of the big questions or the big liabilities is, well, Matthew, what happens if my child doesn't use up all that money? Well, the reality is that child can now pass that 529 plan on to their children if they wish to. And there are now even new regulations out there that would give us some degree of provision to take $529 and turn them into Roth dollars, Roth IRA dollars. And the benefit there is that it's going to be tax-free when we pull it back out. However, we're not here to talk about Roths. We're not here to talk about individual accounts. We are here to discuss the UGMA and the UTMA. So what is this? Well, these are called custodial accounts. And this is what personally I have set up for my children. I was not going to take it for granted that all of my kids were going to go to higher education, such as college or university. And so as a result, this kind of gives them the opportunity of being able to have money. It gives me the opportunity of being able to fund an account, but it doesn't restrict what they can use that money for. And that's kind of the beauty. Now, we'll just stick with the UGMA, the Uniform Gift to Minors Act account. This UGMA account is something where we'll use me as the example. As the parent, I'm going to be the custodian of this account. I'm so sorry, you're going to have to cut that from the video. And as the parent of the account, I am also going to be the person who's making deposits into the account for the benefit of my child. Now, one of the nice things is I can invest that money any way I want. If I want to invest that money into cryptocurrency, I can. If I want to invest that money into commodities or into stocks or bonds or fixed income, I can do that any way I wish. And as the custodian, this money is safeguarded by me. This child, this grandchild, cannot take from this account unless they go through me. This gives me a form of control. If I just hand over, say, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 to a child, well, it's anybody's guess what they're going to do with it. They might use it to go buy a newer car. They may use it to do all sorts of things that I would not approve of. And so, as much as we want to trust our children and our grandchildren, we know that sometimes kids just simply are not responsible yet enough to handle money. And so as a result, the UGMA provides that parent or that grandparent a protection up to the age of 21. Now, keep in mind, not only is the custodian or we'll say the grantor, the watch guard of this account, the owner of the account, not only am I responsible for making deposits into this account and taking withdrawals if they need to take them, but I'm also responsible for paying taxes. Now, this is where the 529 can have certain advantages over the UGMA account. But hear me out. In this particular case, if I own stock, well, if those stocks aren't paying much and I'm owning those stocks for growth, what this means is that chances are I may pay very little, if any, tax from year to year because I'm simply buying a position and I'm allowing that position to grow and to compound and to get larger. And then down the road, if I've held that position for, say, more than a year, it's appreciated nicely, and I need to sell it in order to be able to get money to give to my child or to my grandchild, well, it's going to be long-term capital gains tax. And what that means is that if I'm in the 12% bracket, well, that means that I'm going to pay 0 federal capital gains tax on that gain. If I happen to be in the 22% bracket, the next bracket higher, well, I may pay 15%, but it's still going to be a discount. And the reality is that that's better than paying ordinary income, which you would ordinarily pay on things like interest if it was sitting in an interest-bearing account. So, my friends, this is something that allows you the opportunity to be able to deposit any amount of money that you wish into an account that is for the benefit of a child or children. Each child will get their own. You can invest it any way you want. You can invest any amount you want. You can take withdrawals at will, as long as it's for the benefit of the child that has their name on it. You understand that it will give you protection for the, shall we say, the spendthrift that does not know how to control money, and it's going to give you the opportunity of being able to really benefit that child by giving them an edge. You know, strange as it may sound, I started all of my UGMAs back in 2020. The market was crashing. There was fear everywhere. And I thought, what better time to be able to deposit money into my kids' accounts? And I can't tell you how appreciative I am from time to time when there's college expenses that I need to pay for. And of course, if there's money left over, that's even better, right? Because now that's going to be my daughter's money, or it's going to be my son's money that they will be able to now use. It will be theirs. They can use it for whatever they wish. So in this case, I hope that this is helpful. If you're a parent, a grandparent, you've been thinking, what can I start that's not going to be terribly restrictive, that's not going to require me to make big deposits, it's going to give me some degree of protection, it's going to give me the opportunity of being able to really give that child a head start. Well, my friend, the UTMA, the UGMA, these are accounts that I would ideally ask you to consider. They're cheap, they're easy to manage, you can invest in them however you choose, and you get to call the shots when it comes to investing that money for your children and for your grandchildren. I'm Matthew Johnson. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And remember, it's up to you to make today a great day.